Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Indiana Esports. We're here for our week number 8 of regular season action. We're in the spring, and maybe you're expecting Minecraft today, but we've got a little bit of a switch up. We're pulling in Marvel Rivals to the fray, and we're getting ready for a good old best of 3. My name's Zama77, joined in the broadcast booth tonight by the handsome Somi Nomi. Somi, how you doing here today?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
I'm doing phenomenal. Better than ever. I'm excited for some Marvel Rivals action. I mean, we've got two teams that are 6-1 looking for their 7th win overall.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that you really just want to be able to get this out ahead. It's going to help you very much in the seeding going in towards the end of the season. So I'm looking for some very well tactical plays tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think you've got two teams that are, again, battling, looking to try and maintain that number 1 overall spot, and with only one loss apiece, it is going to be fun to watch. But it wouldn't be fun without all of our partners today and what they've been able to provide for the stream. First and foremost, we've got to give a shout out to Zotac for all of their support in esports in Indiana. You can show your appreciation by giving them a shout out on social media. It's free, it's easy to do. You can join their Discord community, and don't forget to use hashtag powered by Zotac or Zotac USA when you post. There's 2 options there. Make sure you do both.
Yes, indeed. Now, for our matchup here tonight, it's going to be the Indiana versus Pike High School. Now, do you have any favorites between the two teams here that you're really thinking you want to root for?
No, I mean, I'm ready to see a battle. I think both have looked very, very good throughout the season, and that just proves it from their record. Again, this is a butting of heads, kind of an unstoppable force meets an immovable object on the other side, and being only a best of 3, it's kind of a shortened series for these two teams, so not a lot of time to adapt into the series. You lose that first map, things can start to spiral out of control pretty quickly.
Oh, yes, indeed. Especially when you're going to be starting on a point such as domination here. If we go to the Hydra base here, it's one I've actually seen probably the most when it comes to collegiately and in esports in general for a starting map.
It's a fun one, and I think it's kind of different from the other maps we're going to see throughout the day, in such that, like you mentioned, it's a domination, it's a good old-fashioned, it's a ring, and you've got to fight for it with the other team. The one thing that's so special about domination is not only do you not really have a split of sides, you don't really have someone on attack or defense, you're also very shortened on the overall objective. You go to those other maps, you're going to have time to bounce back from those team fights. You're in domination, you lose 1 or 2 of those team fights, and it really can mean the end of the sub-map.
Yes, it does. And I mean, especially with this map in particular, unlike other domination maps, the map actually moves, which I think was a big highlight when Rivals was released, with how the environment would change over time.
I think that's exciting too, right? You get breakable environments, you get all of these different looks from different places that can suddenly break into new team fights all across it. So it'll be a really good taste tester, I think, going into this matchup number 1. But for both these teams, it's simple what's on the line. Win 2 maps and you're victorious today, lose 2, and it's not the end of the world. You pick up your 2nd loss of the season, but both teams definitely searching to stay as close to flawless as possible. And that's going to start, like we said, here in this map number 1. I'm excited to see what specifically they're going to pick. Are there any meta picks that you have been liking recently?
So if we're talking about saves and bans here, real clear one, you're going to have to either decide, do you want the Luna Snow or do you not want it? Another one that often seen in a lot of love and hate is going to be Hela as well as the Winter Soldier. They are very volatile picks for heroes, so people either play it or they don't.
That's kind of interesting where you have that different versatility across a lot of different heroes, but as well for these teams, it's interesting to see what Gambit is going to be going into today, because I feel like Gambit has been so strong. It's one of the only heroes with a full-on cleanse in the overall meta right now, so it's been almost in every match I've watched, 100% either picked or banned. You either want it or you don't, just like you said with those others, but we're getting to a point where there are too many things to just ban straight away, so It's either, are your own carries good enough on it, or are you not comfortable enough to get it?
Yeah, but we won't be able to see that first ban. It seems that they gave it up. I'm not sure if Indiana meant to go for a ban and lost track of time, but we do see Hella is going to be removed, and they are going to be protecting Penny Parker. Penny is actually one you don't typically see on Domination too much. It has its place, but it requires a lot of setup time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too because it kind of tells you the composition they want to play around, right? They want to play around this ground control, especially in domination. Penny is so good about laying down those mines and taking space. But in domination, it's not just a ground game, it's a multi-level game. So getting some of the next bans coming in, and we've got Jeff locked in. So the cute, lovable shark, unless you're being swallowed whole by him, he's not as cute, is going to be selected for that.
Indeed. Now, in response, they're going to protect Cloak and Dagger. Now, Cloak and Dagger has its place, right? But that's where I also want to bring up Gambit. Gambit also, I feel, has a bit more of a presence. However, there was the recent nerf to Gambit that cut his healing efficiency by half. So it was a big chunk out of his utility kit there.
Yeah, it makes me, I'm an Overwatch guy. I know you're kind of an Overwatch guy as well. It makes me think more to like Kiriko, a little bit less on the healing side, really a lot about that cleanse and keeping some of those dangerous abilities away. So it'll be interesting to see how they play, and I see a confused face. Explain.
Yes, they missed their second or their final ban for Indiana, which it seems that they are fine with having that ban be missed, but it's if you're not banning, you're not utilizing the opportunity, and I think that is a big problem.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that they let it slide. Maybe we'll see those changes going into map number 2, but this is map number 1. They let a few things slide through, and for Pike, you've already got a little bit of a look at their composition. Both teams ready to go here. Best of 3 for the division. AAA regular season week 8. It's time to get down to map number 1.
That it is. Now, looking at the two teams here, I think Indiana's actually going to have a really good setup here going on to the first point, which is the laboratory here. Needless to say, there's a lot of cover that Pike could utilize for their tanks themselves as well as their damage dealers. But I think the biggest thing is who is playing what here. And I'm looking at that Magic. I'm looking at that Daredevil. They have a lot of maneuverability that is going to have to be either stomped or addressed.
Interesting too that you have a composition where you have the Strange and Magneto, which provides a lot of frontline, but it has a lot of variable pieces like you talked about that can kind of move around, get some space, and early on you talk about space. Pike High School has gained the majority of this space. Now you don't want to lose your Doctor Strange early, and especially not his portal shield, but I like the early damage onto the back line. You take the Bucky down to about half, everybody healthy right now for Indiana School.
Yup, and there it is. Daredevil already going into the backline. Did not get an elimination. They were really looking for it. Magic's trying to see if they can make a follow-up here, but I don't think this is working out. Oh, make me eat my own words there. Daredevil will find Jeff, the most vulnerable of them all, and now trying to take out Penny Parker here. Will have to back on off of the fight, but the point has already been captured in favor of Indiana.
They've got it. They've got it controlled, and from now on, unless a Pike contest comes on through, which is coming in right now, they've already got the ultimate coming through, and they're going to try and slice and dice the Magic. But Magic has got a ton of availability to just stay alive on the pillar, keep on swinging that sword, and slice anybody that comes into her viewfinder. Already the tanks are down for the side of Pike High School, and the follow-up is just too clean from Indiana.
Yeah, the biggest thing you have to focus on here is staying alive. You cannot afford to get staggered. Oh, they are able to take one out, but you do see Jeff there really hurting for a certain as they're trying to back up. They will be able to get the revenge against the Daredevil there. So this is a big opening here for the side of Pike to push into this point right now. Definitely looking to see some ult coming out from Indiana to address this.
Already bringing one. In the back line from the supportive role, they're up to 60%, but The push from Cloak and Dagger is just enough to keep them alive. 3 ultimates for Pike, but their health bars are disappearing. Magneto going in with a mortar. They've also got 2 others to join alongside him, but they've already lost a damage dealer. It's a double kill from the Magneto ultimate, 3 in total, and Pike is pushing back really well. The problem being, there are still 2 tanks left alive, and they are just hounding more percentage the longer they stay on the point.
That they are. Now, might be able to get this Cloak and Dagger. Nope, took too long to find them. Penny is going to have to try to back off here. They do successfully get that point, as mentioned, which is a bit of a surprise to me. All those ultimates invested. Wasn't too sure how that fight was going to go out, but you got 3 ults here to the 1. You do see that Doctor Strange. If they hit it properly on time and target focus, it could be a game changer here. Just have to see if they get the opportunity to push in with it.
Just trying to go in, trying to swallow as many as he can. He'll get 2, and he'll bring them off the edge. We'll see if they can stay alive. The answer is no, but it's a straight up 2 for 2. And right now, there's not a lot of damage from Pike. Already the Dark Child is shut down, and Indiana has blasphemed some of these ultimates straight from Pike, taking names, and that might have just won them this sub-map.
Yeah, I think you're right there with it. Not going to be able to get back to the point in time as round number 1 goes to Indiana.
Really good job of bouncing back. I think an early first fight got them that 80 percentage, the nice space taking from the first push, and then, I mean, that last fight was just waiting for the ultimates to be popped and then forcing their way. Really good job from Indiana School. It is a sub-map number 1 win. Of course, here in Domination, you've got to win 2 of those sub-maps overall. And for Pike, they have got to make some adaptations. One of the big changes, if you're familiar with Overwatch, is actually, here in Marvel Rivals, the percentage of ultimates carries over. So for Pike, they're a little bit closer to those ultimates.
Yeah, it is a very unique thing to have for a game to be able to carry that over. When most people are really used to having, all right, I don't have it, I got to focus on the next round. So to be able to carry that momentum into it could easily lead to an early capture of point where you were struggling in the prior round.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
It kind of aids into an interesting decision, right? If you're at the end of a domination point and you're down 90% to 10, do you even pop those ultimates, or do you try and save them? It's always got to be in the back of the mind. But for right now, Pike needs to pull off the reverse sweep here in this map if they want to stay alive in map number 1. For Indiana, once again, they're going to try and take some space towards the outright pillar, but this wrap is huge to the backside. It gets shut down, and the Daredevil's damage has disappeared.
Yes, it has, and I'm really curious what Cyan here is going to try to pull around from the flank. No one apparently paying attention, and that's going to cost them their life. They lose their own magic there from the side of Pike. Now I think this is where the snowball effect begins, as Namor and Jeff are in for a terrible time having to deal with the ulting magic here, finding more consecutive picks.
I mean, that Dark Child is just insane and popping off, taking care of the tanks first. It's just Doctor Strange really left to protect this backline, and not long for this world. As soon as that shield expires, you are done. The Moon Knight has definitely helped out the overall diversification of damage profile, as Indiana School once again takes first touch.
Yeah, the nice thing about things like Namor and Moon Knight, they're supposed to really work as anti-dive or spam characters that can really get some cheeky chip damage off. And that's where it really matters when you're going in for characters like Jeff or Magic that dive in. That's going to be the Jeff ult there, trying to see who they can find. Actually going to get people away while kidnapping Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, though, is just going to float back up to the surface, and at the start of that fight, landed an Eye of Agamotto that ended up in 2 takedowns, and as another tank falls as the frontliner, it is Pike High School with no answers to this devastating backline killer combo, and Scion has been incredible. You talk about the magic, has been able to dash in, dash out, go between worlds, and Indiana School is already up to 50%.
It seems Scion's really struggling to get over that wall there, but what I would say is if you're struggling this much here against Indiana, maybe Pike should be trying to look at how to do some anti-dive comps. Maybe go for a full dive comp here to really just go after their backline, because that's what they are suffering from right now. But here's Foxy, their own Dark Child going in, but Luna Snow is not letting the show die.
Pike is just going to have too many ultimates, though. This is where they're going to try and overwhelm. And for Indiana, the same story as submap number 1. They're sticking around. They've got their tank still alive, Moon Knight. That Hand of Khonshu does expire, and we'll see that damage start to rip through. However, I'm Jeff is available from Shadow on Pike High School. Little do they need it, though. They're already cutting down the tanks. They're already taking down the front line. They will take the point back, but one more lost team fight will seal their fate in this map.
Yeah, biggest thing here now is going to be able to hold out for the entire fight of this round, and it's a tall order here. Only 6% needed by the side of Indiana to just shut things out. It's going to have to be really precise timing here on these ults. Really paying attention to how Neighbor's going to be using their whale call here for a stun to be able to make some opening picks, but not going to be seen as Magics trade one another.
Sion getting in there early, but now, like you mentioned, that 1-for-1 big entrance from the Meteor M, and the Eye of Akamoto stuns everybody else. I think Tobes is just unfortunately a little bit too slow on the ultimate, and for Pike, they have lost the point, and that map is going to disappear in front of them. Entry KOs and a clean sweep of map number 1 is how Indiana do it.
I mean, that was very strong and dominating showing there from Indiana. You had a bit of pushback there from Pike, being able to make some plays themselves. I think the biggest problem there in that last one was the Jeff ult. The timing of it was just off. It was right in front of the Magneto, so it was an easy elimination.
And the toughest part, too, was Jeff, although got some good ults off, you talk about the timing, it was right after Doctor Strange was able to get their own ultimate off. So you tag that alongside with Jeff is not a nothing burger, still provides healing and other utility towards the backline. So when you trade ultimate for ultimate and just only grab one person, by the time you're gone, the fight is already over. So a really good look from Indiana. The question is now going to be, we move to a different style of map for map number 2. Can they keep that confidence rolling?
I mean, that's a great question there. Have to double check on what mode we are going into next, but I want to say we are heading into, I'm going to call it Escort. I know that's the Overwatch one, but it's Convoy is what it is called. And I believe that's really what we're going to have to pay attention to. Last time here casting, it was Yggdrasil that we went to, so be curious if we head to it again. No, Tokyo 2099. Well, this is a fun map to watch.
Yeah, I love Spider Islands. I feel like it's got a lot of different crevices, a lot of high-low ground play, and you talk about the Magics that were kind of the superstar standout from either side. It's going to make their job easier and harder at the same time. Yes, there's going to be back roads to try and navigate, but it's also going to mean they are going to be one of the sole team fight starters. If they can find a pick, they can win the entire team fight from there on out. However, this is a little bit more forgiving map, so maybe this goes to Pike's favor as we saw them heat up towards the end of those sub-maps. Maybe this is exactly what they need to get the ball rolling. Unfortunately, the spotlight is on them. If they don't win this map, the series is over.
Yes, and I would dare to say here, the other thing about this, the Spider Islands, is that it could actually go for an entire full hold as well. I've seen it done just on the first corner. As you try to begin that escort of the convoy, it is brutal to be held there, not being able to get through the choke.
That's one of the tough things, too. If you lose the cart at any point, it's like, okay, how are we actually supposed to fight our way back now with no cover to get there? So snowballing those team fights one into another is going to be ever important more than ever. And obviously for Indiana, they won that first one, but we'll see if some of those ban issues do change. I mean, maybe they don't want to ban those extra 2 because they won in map number 1. I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I mean, map 1 is a great feeler, so I would really be hoping that Pike's going to be able to pull some. Now, it is a reminder, Indiana was the one that did not do the bans, and they won the first map. So they are going to be getting rid of the Penny Parker immediately, which I think is actually a very smart move. Penny is quite strong around those corners.
And it was the first selection lock in that game number 1 from Pike on the other side. So you take away some of that low ground control, it's just going to make Magic, their front line of Doctor Strange, very much more viable. And especially if you're going for something like a Moon Knight that's more kind of in-your-face damage, that'll just help you out altogether. So the lock's nothing too special here.
Definitely not. Now, seeing the Magic ban, I understand it. It was very annoying as a player to be on the receiving end of that Darkchild. It was brutal to watch. I feel like Darkchild can actually be very easy to avoid. It's all about how it's executed, and I think it was done very well from either side, sneaking around to their blind spots.
Yeah, that wraparound play, often finding the backline first, and with that kind of taken away, we're also going to see on the other side Daredevil selected, so a huge source of the early damage. Now, for Indiana, they actually swapped off of it going from submap 1 to submap number 2, and went with that Moon Knight, so maybe just looking for a little bit more upfront damage. Again, with Penny out of the mix, that's going to help melee characters like that Blind Man that they locked in. So we'll see if they can get the ultimates going. Jeff is going to be the final ban for them as well. They did not like getting thrown off the map, and they won't have to deal with it this time.
I mean, very understandable on that. And now I feel like we are seeing a bit of target bans here, because the Hell is banned again, the Thor is banned once again. I think Pike tried to do some homework here, maybe. Maybe there's a very strong God of Thunder and God of Death on the side of Indiana.
That could be true, and you know, doing the research is one part of these players' gameplay, and you talk about they didn't get to 6-1 by just a pure luck. Definitely showed off the skill in map number 1 as we head off to map number 2. It'll be Pike on the defense first, Indiana on the attack, and just a few switch-ups in composition.
Indeed. Now, there's your favorite person there. Gambit is in play, so here's how he'll be utilized here by the side of Pike. Like I said, very similar to a playstyle like Kiriko. A lot of bouncing off the walls for its damage, and a lot of ability just to run through people here. Now, on the side of Indiana, it looks like they're just going to go for a pure brawl setup.
I love it. I mean, they're starting on the attacking side. You're the ones that kind of get to control this card and get to control the mojo. We've got 4 minutes on the clock here, and we are already set to go. The Thing is going to be the first entry here that they send in to try and soak up some of the damage. Unfortunately, their Doctor Strange is getting pelted. This Punisher, so good from long range, especially in the shielded turret form. But now you've got to watch those side angles. Indiana making it complex.
That they are. Now, they had an idea that Daredevil was on the flank. They just didn't know where exactly. They will be able to get the shutdown there, and the recovery off of Rez too, I dare say. So that's going to help out Pike tremendously here, holding on to this defensive corner. It's really going to be coming down to how they're dealing with the tanks of the backline. Who's going to be falling first in this war of attrition?
Exactly that. War of attrition here. Ultimate coming out from the Thing, but not too much health left to go, and can't escape past the slight corner of the edge. You mentioned this first corner is one of the toughest. A full hold is not uncommon, and for Pike, a very, very good start. They've got 3 ultimates on the board. They'll pop the Gambit ultimate, and they've got TOB as well to keep things going on the other side. So Pike, a really good first minute defense. They've still got 2.5 more minutes to try and hold.
That they do. I mean, your best situation here is you got to coordinate the dive between the Valkyrie here, the Ninja, and the Blind Man himself in a coordinated effort towards this backline here, because it's going to be a huge opening, especially once you take down Rocket's ultimate here.
Targeting in. Looking for those resurrections, too, from the BRP Beacon. 4 gets the stun to the other way, and it's a huge everybody looking at each other. 3 takedowns from Indiana may just be enough to push Pike back. They've got the further away spawns, they've got the cart, and everybody's on it, pushing it forward.
Now, I almost thought there would be hope there for Pike. He did get the 1 res off from the Beacon there, but I think they played it smart, going to be able to fall back in order to make a regroup. Oh, here comes the captain himself, trying to see if he can contest cart, buy some time for Pike to recover here. But Dance of the Butterflies here, not going to really give a big opportunity for people to get into position.
Pride of America not able to do enough, and for Pike, they're kind of just sending members in one by one, like you said, to try and stall that cart. But all they're really doing is just stalling themselves, not giving them a full 6v6 team fight. And IHSEN is searching down for this lonely shadow, takes the KO with them, and it's going to be checkpoint number 1 unlocked. Extra time for Indiana to keep on pushing.
Yeah, those 2.5 minutes really do help when you take a look at the time bank here, because it's still under 4 minutes. May seem like a lot of time, but in reality it's not. It's only a couple of team fights altogether.
All it takes is one, is what I say. That snowball effect can be crazy, and with 2 ultimates available for Indiana, we'll see what comes of it. 2 stuns in the back line for Pike. How do they get out of this? They're trying to fight the 1v1. The Doctor Strange still with that Eye of Agamotto, but it's the backline resurrection. Sion is back. It's halfway to that next checkpoint, but Indiana is fighting here. They're going to pop the early ultimate, but flying. 5 ultimates available for Pike. They play the defense, but the first KO goes the way of Indiana.
That does. I mean, this is what makes the Valkyrie so dangerous, especially on maps where there's environmentals. Now with the lockdown there, it's going to keep everyone in place unless they get that Spire out of the way. But I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off. Eye of Agamotto activates, and it's just pick after pick here. They are falling like flies on the side of Pike.
Tried to use that freedom charge for a little bit of defense, but not enough for Pike, and now they're just pressing ultimate buttons to try and hold them once again, but Indiana has the numbers. You might take down their Raccoon in the back line, but they are still eating up space on this mid checkpoint. 2 minutes to try and get some extra time and keep on pushing. Actually a really good job here on the delay. Panda ends up getting a good enough delay and a KO, but boy, it's the dance of the butterfly that is already sliced down too. The wings are collapsed, Raccoon gets one back, and Pike is somehow still in this fight.
Yep, but Rocket's really having a tough time here. Daredevil really getting in there, but will actually live to tell the tale. So there is a chance here for a contest on point. It's going to have to really come out here, I think, from Namor with a whale call. Do they actually get a move made here? Will they actually get a pickoff? That is the biggest question here for Pike, to be able to pull off this move. Here it comes, and they're able to secure one. It's going to be Rocket, the most crucial one to take out in order to make sure there was no beacon for a revival.
However, Daredevil Ultimate, Eye of Agamotto combined together, and the Valkyrie is good enough to take down 3. It's a full house as a 2 for the Daredevil, 3 for the Valkyrie, and that's checkpoint number 2 unlocked from Indiana. They've got time, 2.5 minutes to push towards victory.
That they do. This is actually a great showing here from Indiana. They have practically full control of the map here. You see the Valkyrie constantly taking to the sky, trying to see if they can find environmentals, while the tanks and Daredevil specifically keep the forward momentum here to allow for the cart to continue its assault. Now we're going to see the spike down here again. I'm not sure if Cloak and Dagger will be able to get out in time, trying to see if they can get their ult here to just lay it into the cart, but it's actually going to be on the flip side here where Indiana does it first.
And honestly, Foxy was able to really stall that team fight, pop the ultimate, the Invisibarrier, enough to hold things off as the spike did go down. And Pike saved a ton of ultimates for the next team fight. They've got 3 of them up and available, and now Indiana don't have the cart, so they've got to walk a little bit longer distance to try and get there. Early on, Stahl is not able to get the damage they want. With only 90 seconds left to go, Indiana's running out of time.
That they are. I mean, I'd start to really reconsider once we get down to this minute here, especially if you haven't picked anyone off. Oh, no. Not a great time to be utilizing that ult there. Maybe they're going for a swap? You're really coming down to last fight territory.
You got 60 seconds left. Like you said, probably 1 or 2 short fights here, and especially with 3 ultimates still available from Pike, you are hoping that there is a godly Eye of Agamotto coming through, or else Indiana could be in some trouble. They're just trying to farm up on the ults, but Pike is not biting. They are not taking the bait here. They are holding, waiting, and they've got a Captain America in their face. Sure, Moon will take them down 1 for 1, but that's a resurrection. Eye of Agamotto does stun 3, and there's the push they needed. All 4 ultimates pop by Pike. They say stuns, we've got them. Damage, we gotcha. And KO, sure as heck, we got those too.
Yeah, this is a big conjoining of hot chocolate, if you will. As you come down to these last 10 seconds here, you see them trying to eye how they're going to make this touch here, but I think Science in a real big tough spot here. They do have someone on point that is able to get them into overtime here, but it's really going to be coming down to execution and communication here, as you're going to lose one of your players to start. You need to be able to make a trade back, otherwise it's not going to work out well for you.
No Psylocke, make that no 2 players. Your front line is disappearing, and overtime is soon to fade. You've got to hold them off now. Namor's just going to hold the high ground here, and at this point, they've got the damage, they've got the collection, and Indiana's just grasping at straws to try and hold on to this card. The defense is good and successful, but Indiana does push the card a decent distance.
2.
Yeah, I mean, that
Time to
for all
switch
that it's
things
worth,
up, including
fairly
which
good hold
side
on
you're
the start from Pike. Great
You'll need a
being able to make sure they
top-notch
couldn't
team
get
to win
all
this
the
one.
way to third there. So now that the sides have swapped here and Pike's going to be on the attack, I will say I'm not too confident in how they will perform. It is a different map from the domination we saw earlier, but my concern is map control. Specifically because you saw how much Indiana took space from Pike on that domination, constantly going on the flanks, constantly outmaneuvering them. Are we going to see that here?
I mean, that's the question that I feel like is going to not only decide this map, but decide this series. We've got to remind ourselves that Indiana is up 1-0. One more game win will make them the victors and move them to 7-1, one of the best records in the entirety of AAA division. This is the regular season. There's still more ahead of it, but boy, this would be a huge win, and I think the good thing for Pike is that they know where they have to push to. They know the marker they have to beat. They've just got to get there.
Yeah, I mean, knowing is half the battle, right? You got to make sure that you keep your wits about you, do not crack under the pressure, and that your mentality stays strong. Any esport, it is all about mentality here. It's half the battle.
It is a big part of that battle. We will see how Pike and their mentality fare. They start back on the attacking side as we switch things up. That golden marker at the top of the screen is where Pike has to push to try and force a map number 3, keep themselves alive in the series. And early on, look at this damage from Indiana, building up those ultimates, but also targeting TOB, making sure the damage is there on the front line of Strange. Indiana has a further away spawn. They don't want to lose players here early.
No, they do not, especially when you lose Doctor Strange there from the get-go, and it's going to be a long respawn. I'm surprised Captain America survived through that entire time. Almost a full minute on cart there, and still gets out to tell the tale. So that, I think that's a phenomenal stall there to begin with, before they even get around the first corner.
You mentioned that, because they're not even to this first corner, which has been so hard. Here comes the whale, and it jumps up 3! Are you kidding me? Making a quadra kill with the connection on the Trident. The striker is true to the name and just deletes the team fight.
I think that was a big opportunity there that they took. You know what? I'm very proud of it. I love seeing those big plays. And in a game like Marvel Rivals, you can get your ultimate back really quickly. So it's, in most cases, better to get that wipe rather than trying to save for a big play.
Can't always save it for the perfect play, and right now Pike, it just seems like they're making all the perfect plays. They're gotten 4 stunned from them, and that's going to be huge for the move forward. Eye of Agamotto just going crazy. Combine that with the Bucky ultimate, and it is just pure decimation. So a triple kill takedown there, and that should seal the deal on that team fight. And with the early stall, Pike is down to 2 minutes left in their timer.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing about the Winter Soldier. It is a very dangerous hero to play against in almost any map and situation, just because of the skill ceiling it has, and that it's able to actually perform with. Now, you will see Rocket being able to shut down that Winter Soldier just now. If they can get rid of Cloak and Dagger here, that's actually going to clear up the whole field. So it's going to be a big target for them to go after.
The ultimate, though, from the Cloak and Dagger. Indiana still stabilizing here. 90 seconds left to go for Pike. It's not a ton of time. Eye of Agamotto is back again, and it stuns 3. Valkyrie comes in again for another triple kill. I mean, it just seems like farming clips today is all Indiana's doing. Sure, Pike will win the war, but there is another battle to go after it. For Indiana, they have held them to the end of this checkpoint, and 1 or 2 more fight wins could seal the end of the series.
Most definitely can. Again, this cap here, just completely all over this point. They had such a big opening there from those eliminations, but now it means nothing when you can't get rid of the one that represents America to be able to hold the line.
And it's quite interesting, holding the line at least at the front line to be able to perform. And that Eye of Agamotto only actually stuns 1. Gambit has to pop the ultimate. It's a triple strategic selection here from Indiana as they keep moving forward. They're going to cleanse everything away. And Pike only has 20 seconds left to go. They need to win this team fight. And with a triple stun from the Eye of Agamotto, I don't know that they are.
Yep. It's going to be a really tough push here in these final 10 seconds. It's only Striker who has respawn time, so they have to do a quick swap here over the Venom. Can they make the swing over the buildings in time? Going with the dive does not make the touch!
2-2.
Heartbreak at the end of map number 2, and that's how the series is sold. Pike picks up their second loss of the entire season, as Indiana looks incredibly flawless. They didn't even need all of their bands to take the win. And Shoya, incredible back-to-back MVP performances. The Doctor Strange and their incredible Eye of Agamotto ultimates gave them the victory today.
That it did indeed. And I know I keep hyping it up, but I really feel this came down to that Captain America there for Indiana. Was really just what set the pace for the space, as well as holding the point hostage against Pike. And they just couldn't do anything about it.
No, they had no answers, and I think you give credit to Pike for where they've gotten in terms of the regular season. Again, this is only their second series loss of the entirety of it, and they put up some good fights through and throughout. I just think it was, again, some of those team fights. You look at the overall series score and you see a 2-0. This could have easily gone all 3 games that had been on a different day of the week.
Most definitely. What I would say here for Pike is that this is going to be a really big learning moment for them. There was a lot of great video resource that they will be able to study off of here, especially going into the postseason.
Yeah, you talk about the value of a VOD review, of looking back at some of your mistakes. I always like to say, it's better to lose in the regular season than later in the postseason where you can't change things, where you don't have a chance to bounce back. But everything is truly a learning experience. And for these kids to already be this good, I was seeing some Grandmasters in the lobby before we got into game. Their ceiling is already up to the moon. And especially as we get ready into the remainder of the spring season, it's going to be exciting to see how they grow and how both teams, win or lose, can learn from this experience.
Most definitely. But I think that just about wraps it up for us here. But before we go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give, Llama?
I do have a shout-out, and I got to give a shout-out to LANFest, of course. For LANFest, their broadcast is part of LANFest's Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LANFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams we cover, so your generous donations do make that possible. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast, and if you do appreciate all of our work, make sure to scan the QR code and donate today. It would not be possible without all of you amazing people at home. And, you know, not only LandFest, but all of our league is run off of League OS and their portal. It makes it super easy to run matches from not only colleges to high school, and now there's a new addition that you can set up an account to help colleges find you. Sign up, get your profile ready to go, because as both of us know, if you're not putting your profile out there, schools are not going to find you, and those opportunities are going to disappear. So don't miss your chance to get discovered today and set up your account on the League OS portal.
Sounds like some great shout outs there. I'll give my own shout out here to our lovely production. Thank you, Connie and Taylor, for putting on a great show for us to be able to cast here tonight. It wouldn't be possible without them.
Yeah, doing the easy job, I would say, is what we have. They've got the tough one. They're pressing all the buttons back there and making us look beautiful. If it's your first time through, though, you should hit that follow button. Turn on notifications for every single time we go live, whether that's here on LandFest, whether you're watching the rerun on YouTube, or on many of our different restream locations from Washington to Indiana. Make sure you stay tuned for our next matchup. As always, it's been fun to cast over the matches. Appreciate all the teachers and parents that work so hard to make their students into what they are. But that wraps us up for the day. Indiana moves to 7-1 with a 2-0 sweep. That's what some know me. I've been Llama77. Thank you all so much for watching. Follow your dreams. Stay amazing. We'll see you next time.